Come on, Biscuits. Come on. Come on. Oh, and that other cat's out there.
You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, in Disney.
All right, we got Angela and Dan Clark coming on with us tonight. There's music that kind of messed up a little bit, but can you guys hear me all right?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can. Things are looking good. You guys are looking good tonight, so we get you live here on YouTube. Okay, this is the Heart to Heart program, and I guess you guys have got a guest coming on tonight, right?
We do.
Yes, we do.
Very good. So why don't you tell us a little about the program, and then I'll kind of step out of the way here.
Okay, sounds good. So our guest tonight is Peter Corneille, and Peter was raised.
No, it's a
No, that's right, Corneille. Corbeil. Peter was raised Catholic until the age of 7 when he saw hypocrisy, spoke to it, and was gone, done, finished. A few years later, Peter and his mother got introduced to the JW org by his aunt. He became baptized not long after, at the age of 9, if you can believe it, and became very active. He will explain tonight how he became disfellowshipped in his teens in 1983, which actually made him feel quite relieved. You'll see tonight the incredible integrity of this man. He calls it like it is wherever he goes. After having a serious health crisis, Peter woke up. With his vocal cords beginning to work again, as well as his hands, he began to researching the doctrinal beliefs and practices of the JWs. Soon after, his voice began ringing out to the world on his YouTube channel called XJW Curious. As this faded witness came to life, now a serious XJW activist and proud of it. Peter is the father of 2 adult children, having raised them both outside of the JW indoctrination. He lives now in Attleboro, Massachusetts. So proud to have this guy on our show tonight. Welcome, Pete.
Welcome, Pete. Are you on there?
Peter, you on there? Hit *6. Hello, Pete. Are you on there? Hit *6. What's his area code?
Yeah, we're just.
I believe it's 508.
508.
Hold on. How's that?
Yay.
Okay, you're on with us now. Go ahead. Yep.
That work?
Yep.
You're on there, Pete.
Okay. Well, how's it going?
Good.
We sounding good, Rick? Everything sounding good?
Everything's good. Yep.
All right, we're ready to roll. Hey, we want to say hi to everybody on YouTube, everybody on the screen, everybody on the phone calls. And we just want to say thank you for tuning in. I want you to know every one of you are a part of activism. And I believe it's the work of God. We're exposing darkness. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, Jesus, he told them they were whitewashed graves, hypocrites, offspring of vipers. They don't enter in. The people follow them, don't enter in. And we're watching this happen with our own family. So I'm glad that Pete tonight has come on. He's an activist. He left for 40 years. And he's back full-fledged, and it's because it's the right thing to do. And so I'm so glad he's on. And anyway, Pete, just, kind of tell us who you are. How did you get into the organization? When did it all start with your family? And just kind of take us back and walk us forward, and we'll kind of interject as we go. And if anybody's got a comment, they want to say anything to Pete, just *6 and say something. Okay, go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, well, my story started, I was originally born into a Catholic family and was raised Catholic. And when I was 7 years old, I was in Sunday school and had the opportunity, the sister told us that the Father was coming into our class and that if we had questions, we could ask him, which was a very unique opportunity, in a Sunday school setting. Because I was raised basically as an only child from the age of 4, my mother was very overprotective of me. I was kept in the house a lot, so my refuge was reading. And as a result, the biggest book we had in the house was a Bible. So that's the book that I would start to read just for recreation. When the father came into the Sunday school and asked if we had any questions, I raised my hand and I asked him, I said, are we supposed to follow the 10 Commandments? To which he replied, yes, we are. And I said, well, in the 10 Commandments, it says not to bow down before graven images, yet the church is full of graven images. And he was not happy with that question and asked me if I had anything else I'd like to ask. And I said, well, are we supposed to do what Jesus tells us? And he said, yes. And I said, well, he says not to call one another father or rabbi, yet we call you father. He then asked me for my phone number, and 20 minutes later, my very irate mother came to pick me up. And that was the day we stopped being Catholics.
Well, that's interesting, Pete.
So,
Now, yeah, in fact, Dan and Angela, somehow we lost their feed coming into YouTube, but I'll handle it till they get back. But yeah, so that's interesting.
right.
So when you, good to meet you. Thank you, Pete. So where in Massachusetts are you coming from?
I live in Attleboro, which is right on the Rhode Island, Massachusetts border.
Oh, yeah, I know where it is. Yeah, because I live up.
You know the corner where Massachusetts takes a left? I'm just below that.
Oh, yeah, I know where you are. Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm glad you came on the program. Right. So now you're saying you left the Catholic Church. Is that when you became a witness or what?
Yeah, my mother was telling her best friend the story about, how the priest got so mad at me for asking questions, and my mother's best friend was a witness. And so never one to fail to seize an opportunity, she asked my mother if she wanted to study the Bible with a true Christian, and that's what led us into the Jehovah's Witness organization.
Well, that's exactly how it happens for so many people. They have a friend.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So there you got bamboozled. Yeah, into it. How long were you in?
Hey there. I was in. We got in back in 1969, and I loved it. My mother was just going along because it was her best friend, and so she was just figuring that this is great, this is okay. But I loved it because I love to read, and the Jehovah's Witnesses had all these small, colorful books. I could sit down and read through one of those in an afternoon, and it was great. And I really wasn't worried about the content. I was just happy that I had so much stuff to read. But I enjoyed going out on service. I kind of looked at it as a challenge to sell magazines rather than preaching God's word. And I asked the presiding overseer, we didn't have elders back then, we just had the one, presiding overseer. I asked him how I could become like a pioneer during school vacations. And he said, well, to be a pioneer, you have to be baptized. And I said, well, what do I have to do to get baptized? And he said, well, you have to study the questions and this and that. He says, but you're too young. And I said, well, I want to get baptized. What do just tell me what I have to do. And they really did. He really did try to discourage me, even to the point that when the circuit overseer came to visit our congregation, he had the circuit overseer try to dissuade me. But, I had all the answers to all the questions they asked. And so, they allowed me to get baptized.
And how old? 9 years old. 9. Wow, 9 years old. Hey, I believe we got Angela and Dan back on with us. I think they dropped off of YouTube, but I think they're on the telephone line. You guys on with us, Dan?
Hey, Rick, just got back on the phone. Yeah, for whatever reason, it might be coming back on here, but I think we're back on again. So
All right. Well, just we can hear you, and I got Pete on with us, so we got a good program going here. And he got baptized at 9 years old, Dan, if you can imagine that. So yeah, that's amazing. Boy, oh boy, I'm gonna bring you guys.
That was
on.
against the rules
Oh yeah.
when we were in, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get rid of that one.
Yep, pretty much.
Muted.
Shut your phone off, Dan. Yep.
Get out of there.
You got it.
Turn up the volume now.
Okay.
Did you turn it off?
I did.
It didn't go off.
I know. Shut up.
All right. We got them back with us.
All right, we're
All right,
back.
we can
Technology,
hear you.
wonderful.
Okay, great.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
All right, keep on going there. Yeah, that was kind of a no-no when we were in there. I mean, we were told Jesus was baptized at 30, and you couldn't really make a decision until you were old enough to give your life to Jehovah. So that was kind of a conundrum that you were baptized at 9 years old. I mean, you had to have been a good salesman.
Oh, yeah, well, that was the whole thing. Like the circuit overseer, when he was, talking to the presiding overseer, he said, this young man knows, all the answers. I can't see any reason why we shouldn't allow him to be baptized. So I was baptized, and then from the age of 9 up until I was like 13 or 14, I would vacation on Pioneer. They called it vacation pioneering back then. Now I think it's auxiliary pioneering. But every school summer, so July and August, I would, vacation pioneer and then go back to school in September. And I did that up until I got to be like a freshman in high school. And then the first time I ran into one of my high school classmates at the door and got back to school the next Monday, and being a high school freshman, being tormented for being a Jehovah's Witness wasn't really my cup of tea. So that's what kind of started my edging towards the door. Monday, and being, because I felt like, if I'm doing, if I'm going to people's houses and I'm supposed to be preaching about God's kingdom and trying to save lives, why am I so embarrassed about it?
Yeah.
That was kind of my first inkling that there was something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It might have proved that maybe it was too early for you to come in, because it was kind of like a little codependency,
Yeah, or jealousy.
or nervousness.
In hindsight, I was way too young. Even though I could answer the question, it was an academic thing. I knew what they were going to ask me, so I studied to answer the questions that they were going to ask. It had nothing to do with like my sincere knowledge or what was in my heart. It was just knowing what they wanted. I was telling them what they wanted to hear.
That's why it's so easy, Pete. That's why it's so easy, Pete, for anybody to get in there, including pedophiles and different things, because all you've got to do, it's not like a regular church. When you join a regular church, they want to know that you got a bachelor's degree. They want to know that you've been through college, some sort of seminar. They do a background check when you're working with children. But Jehovah's Witnesses don't do that. All you've got to do is show up at a meeting, tell them you're interested, start a Bible study, answer the questions like parakeeting them, and you're in. And if you do it real well, you move up the ladder, That's a good point.
Oh, yeah. I got baptized in July of 1970. And then the first, midweek meeting after the assembly, they actually had my little 9-year-old self up on the stage leading the congregation in prayer.
Are you still there, Pete?
Step stool just so I could reach
We lost Rick
the
too.
microphone,
What do we do? There we go.
A 9-year-old boy leading the congregation in prayer, and we had, our congregation was a little over 100 people, so it wasn't like this was a small deal.
Right.
And I felt, like other kids in the congregation would bring me around to like some of the older people, and it's like, Pete got baptized at the assembly, and it's like, yeah, that's good, you know. And it was like, I started to feel like people were trying to show me off. You know, other parents were starting to invite me over their house to hang out with their kids, I guess thinking that maybe I could inspire their kids to want to go out and service and get baptized. And, you know, I was giving, I started off with, you know, the Bible readings and number 2 talks. And then in pretty short form, I was up to number 5 talks.
Wow.
You never saw anybody my age doing that stuff.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
You were the superstar.
I was climbing the ladder, but then, you know, when I hit 16, I just slammed on the brakes big time.
Because you wanted to be a teenager?
So, yeah, well, you know, I had never lived with my father, but when I was 16, you know, he passed away from, you know, cirrhosis of the liver. He was a drinker. But, you know, his doctors had given him a choice to either quit drinking and live or keep drinking and die. And on his way home from the hospital, he stopped to pick up a six-pack. So when I was at his funeral, the whole thought that was occurring to me the entire time is like, he literally chose death. You know, and so many people don't have that opportunity. You know, if you ever have the opportunity to choose life or death, that's a rare privilege.
Yeah.
And he had that choice, and he chose death. So at 16, I said, if he wanted to die just so he could keep drinking, drinking must be awesome. So I started. And I got real good at it too. You know, and the more I did that, the more, you know, the farther and farther away I was getting, you know, from the organization. Finally, when I was about 19 to 20 years old, you know, I had quit high school for a couple years to get a job and buy a really cool car. But then I went back to high school, so I was like 20 years old when I graduated.
Oh, wow.
But my senior year of high school, I played, I was in a Christmas play. I was in the play A Christmas Carol. That was part of the drama club.
Oh, boy.
And I was the ghost of Christmas Future, so I didn't even have a speaking role. My job was just to get in makeup and walk out on the stage and point. And that was it. But the elders caught wind of that. They never caught wind of my drinking or any of the other things I was doing wrong, but they knew I was in a play. And so they called me in for a judicial meeting based on that. And the meeting got pretty contentious because I was rather insulted that I was being called in for something so silly. And at one point, one of the elders said to me, you know, this is, you know, it doesn't look good to people on the outside. And he seemed to be upset about the perception of it. You know, not that about the actual belief or insinuated, but the perception. And I looked at him and I said, didn't you just 2 weeks ago stand up on that platform and say that nobody but Jehovah knows what's in my heart? And he says, but yes, I said that. And I said, is that true? And he said, yes. And I said, well, if Jehovah knows what's in my heart, why am I trying to impress you? And that pretty well sealed the deal. About 10 minutes later, they told me I was going to be disfellowshipped. And that was 1980, 81.
You know, Pete, you were too smart for your own good. I mean, how many people can answer the elders at 16 and say, Jehovah knows what's in my heart, not you? I mean, and is bold enough to, you know what I mean, Angela, to look
Yeah.
him in the eye and say that to elders. I mean, everybody hides from elders. Everybody runs from them, you know?
I know. I thought about that too, Dan. And I thought the same thing, but then I thought, well, wait a minute. He was a cocky teenager, right? So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
He
you're
probably
right.
already had seen a lot of hypocrisy in the church already, you know, and I don't know. Probably,
There was so much of it.
yeah.
There was, because, like I said, when I first started, we just had the presiding overseer. But then in the early 70s is when they switched over to the elder arrangement. And one of the elders we had there just totally didn't like me from the word go. Every time my name would come up for any type of privilege at all, like, he didn't even think I was qualified to be like a mic handler.
Mm.
Yeah. He was coming up with reasons for that. So I could see that, Jehovah's Witnesses are supposed to be God's organization. We're supposed to be exemplary Christians. We're supposed to be different than everybody else. But if you stand back and just look, you'll see that we are exactly the same as every other group of people. There's a lot of good people when there's a few, bad eggs in the group. I said, so what's so special about this organization that I can't find in any other organization? And that was really the thing that, kind of pushed me, that, and I read the scripture at 2 Thessalonians 2:1-2, where it's, where the Apostle Paul is warning about apostates. And it says, do not be alarmed by men who are saying the day of Jehovah is here. Well, the only people who are saying that are the governing body.
Yeah.
So it kind of dawned on me that the governing body are the apostates we were being warned about.
Yeah.
Oh.
I couldn't see myself being part of an organization being led by apostates.
I've never heard anybody say that before.
I know. It's
That
brilliant.
the governing body are the apostates. That's a great point. Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's right there in the scripture. I mean, Paul said, these men will say the day of Jehovah is near. And who says that? The governing body. Even in the old Sing Praises to Jehovah songbook, song number 195, this is Jehovah's day. So, I mean, it's not like it was a hidden doctrine. They've been telling people that they're living in the last days since 1879.
Wow.
Wow.
First paragraph of the first ever watchtower. Right? If you can still look it up online, there are scans of it. The first paragraph of the first ever watchtower says the purpose of this magazine is to preach that we are living in the last days.
Wow.
How can you be living in the last days for 140 years?
I know. Well, it's interesting too, Pete. A lot of people don't like it when I call them channelers or mediums, but they place themselves in that role. They said they're the mediator. They said Jehovah placed them in their relative position. They said Jehovah made them their faithful and discreet slave who they channel the spiritual food at the proper time. Think about that. They said they give the spiritual food, so they hear Jehovah's voice. Jehovah gives them the spiritual food to download into the magazines, into the watchtower, and it's always wrong. Just like most channelers out there, most spiritual channelers get it wrong. And these guys have gotten it wrong, and I'm sorry if they don't like the word channelers, but they channel Jesus or they channel Jehovah. If they say they're in charge of giving us the spiritual food at the proper time, they're a medium. They're the medium. They don't tell you give them the spiritual food at the proper time. They say they give you the spiritual food. And Jehovah's appointed them special, anointed governors, governing men. And so keeping a watch over their souls. But yet they keep getting it wrong over and over and over again. And here's the other thing. These mediums don't apologize. They don't apologize for anything they do. They just keep lying. That's why I say they're amoral. Most people who tell a lie and get caught in a lie, like I'd say, all of us who've left have gone, oh my God, they lied and they lied again and they lied again. Since the 1800s, over 100 years of false prophesying. And these men who say they're ordained, anointed from God, can't say, I'm sorry, we got it wrong, to the people who gave up their lives. It's terrible. Go ahead, Angela.
Dan's always got to make sure to mention
I always got to mention that. I'm not letting them go ever.
No.
They haven't apologized.
And you guys, tell me again what the word apostate means exactly. What did that girl say it meant exactly? Something about being enslaved, right?
Yeah.
About a runaway slave? Is that what
Yeah.
apostate means? Yeah, apostate means runaway slave. Interesting.
Yeah, all an apostate is somebody who no longer believes what a certain church or organization teaches.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do. This is the thing. I wanted to work on a project at one time where I was going to write the governing body dictionary, because they keep taking words and changing the definitions. Like at the 2021 convention, they changed the definition of the word faith. And they're always, shifting. They shifted the definition for apostate. They're shifting the definition of a generation with the new teachings. So they're just rewriting the dictionary, which, wow, I knew they wrote their own Bible, but I didn't think that they were into dictionaries too. Well,
God made them gods. Rick, did somebody want to chime in there, Rick?
Well, if we got the lines open, if someone would like to call in, my goodness gracious, say hello to Pete. That's fine too. Let's take a look. Do we have someone coming in right now? It looks like nobody's in the green zone, but they'll come in soon. We got a lot of people listening in tonight, so continue with the program.
Hey, you guys, I got to tell you this meaning that's, so we heard from somebody that, at least, I guess it's the Jehovah's Witnesses, call an apostate a runaway slave, okay? But I've just looked it up in the dictionary, okay? And here's what it says at number 2:1. It says, one who is guilty of apostasy, one who has forsaken the church, sect, party, profession, or opinion to which he before adhered, used in reproach, once adhered to, a renegade, a pervert. And I thought, goodness. How funny, because did I not hear Peter saying that he thinks that the governing body is the actual apostate, right? So they're one who's guilty of apostasy, one who's forsaken the church, one a sect, party, profession, or opinion to which they before adhered to, and then they're a renegade and a pervert. That's the definition of apostate from the dictionary. I love it. It's so fun.
It's like, 3 years ago, I had a stroke that really messed me up. And one of the things that I had to do was like 8 months of speech therapy so I could learn how to talk coherently again. So as part of my therapy, I started a YouTube channel where I was doing music video reactions. So I'd watch a music video and then I would just give a short commentary on it. And this was, to help me, relearn how to talk again. But last summer, I started finding some of the ex-JW YouTube channels like Lloyd Evans and Tim Mikey and them. And when I heard about the Australian Royal Commission, that just floored me. Now, I haven't been to a meeting since 1983. The last meeting I attended was when they announced that I had been reinstated. But I never was like an active, anti-JW person. I had friends who were, and, they would tell me, oh, this, blah, 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 and I would just let it go. It's like, I don't see, look, they're not the smartest group of people, and a lot of their teachings are hypocrisy, but I don't see evil there. And that was the way it was up until I learned about the Australian Royal Commission. Here you have documents from the branch office showing that they had knowledge of over 1,000 pedophiles with over 1,800 victims going all the way back to 1950, and not a single case was ever reported to the police. That flipped my switch. Like when the Catholic Church had their sex scandal, and they hid it for a long time. They would just move the priests around. But when it got public, they fessed up, they paid their damages, and they changed things.
Yes.
Jehovah's Witnesses don't do that. They buckle down and they fight and they hide and protect the pedophiles even more so.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to try to justify it biblically, which they really can't, because even though the two-witness rule is stated, that's clearly in the Bible, but just like 2 or 3 chapters later, that's taken off the table because it clearly says that there are circumstances where you must believe the word of just the victim. So, you can debate whether the two-witness rule is, biblical or not, but the fact that these are crimes, right? These pedophiles are committing a crime, and the Watchtower policy is not to report the crime to the authorities. That, I don't care if there's mandatory enforcement reporting laws, it's unchristian, it's unholy, and it's just plain wrong.
Yeah, and you know what else too? What we saw on numerous occasions is they just shut down the church itself and it was no more. And when it got really corrupted, it got really bad. So that's how they hid. And then we've also heard of files being destroyed. Anyway, it's crazy, isn't it? How they run and hide and destroy or close a church. It's crazy.
The only reason for it is human pride.
Yeah, fear too.
They don't want the organization to look bad.
Right. And so
Jehovah but at some point you have to act like a Christian rather than just say that you're one.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so that's on my I switched my music video reaction channel over to a exposed Watchtower Corporation channel, and I'm still pretty new at it. I'm only about 3 dozen videos into it, but I'm getting a lot of good response from people, and I've had some commenters who are thanking me for providing information to help them wake up, and that's what it's all about.
That's right.
I don't care if I ever get 1 million views or anything like that. I'm an old guy. I'm in failing health. I'm not going to be around who knows how much longer. So if I can, help some other people who are questioning what they're being taught now, or people who have never, ever even been witnesses, but who are thinking about getting involved with it, if I can save them the turmoil of what being a witness is, then maybe everything I dealt with is worth it.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Pete. What was it that really, really, really made you want to start doing this activism? I mean, what was the real switch? Oh, the Australian Commission. Okay.
Oh, definitely the Australian Rules Commission.
And so basically, you felt like
Jeffrey Jackson up there just blatantly lying. Lying under oath.
Yes.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Did you hear that?
Somebody
might be trying to call.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pete. Sorry.
Okay. There was another case, too, in the Canadian Supreme Court where a former witness was suing the Watchtower for damages as a result of him being shunned. And I watched a video where the Watchtower's lawyer is telling the Canadian Supreme Court that, when a person is shunned, his relationship with his family continues on like nothing is different.
Yep.
For in spiritual matters.
Yep.
Which
I heard that.
anybody who's ever been a witness knows that's a bold-faced lie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Your family treats you like you're dead.
yep. They sure do.
You know,
Did you hear that woman?
one problem I had with the Watchtower is that in public they present one set of doctrines, but behind the curtain, the doctrines are a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Did you happen to hear that lady that was on the show before you were on tonight?
Lisa.
Yeah. Did you hear her story?
The lady Lisa.
Yeah. Yes.
I heard most of her story. Yeah.
Oh, good. I mean,
That's quite a. She'll make a very good guest for your show the next time around.
yeah. I think
was almost going to call you up and say, "Hey, surrender my time, give it to her."
Well, people can only handle it here so much of it because it's hard for people to even comprehend that such a thing could be going on. However, when you think about the pyramid and the graveyard there in Brooklyn, where was it Rutherford that was buried in that pyramid? Anyway, Russell, was it Russell? I can't remember, one of the two of them. But every year he died on Halloween. So every Halloween they would go to the graveyard for many, many years and do whatever they did. And and there's all kinds of discussion about them being, involved with the Masons. And so we've got plenty of people who have said that most definitely they were. So now we're hearing from Lisa that she was involved in one of their, satanic ritual abuse things. I mean, it's kind of really super hard to comprehend that stuff goes on. But like Dan shared, we absolutely know someone. We've seen the marks. We've seen what they've done to her. And it's real. And so it's just hard to believe, isn't it? Because it just goes to say or prove that really, truthfully, they were never really Christians. They never really were even trying. They were simply in there to have people that they could control and manipulate and get money out of and do their sex things to and have their way with and see how much fun they could have controlling the crowd. And I think that there were many of them that were set up way back when. I really, really do. I'm convinced of it. And witnesses were just one of those. And it's sickening. It's hard to even comprehend that such a thing would happen. But the more and more time goes on, we're starting to see the hypocrisy in church after church after church. And the friend that Dan talked about earlier was a Mormon, has same experience as Lisa, and some worse things. It's horrendous. And so anyway, we're having to face the fact that it's never really been about God at all. It's been about men wanting to control men and get what they can out of them for their purposes. And it's selfish. So, we're always standing in awe of, I can't believe they would do this, but it is what it is.
If you look at, the history of the witnesses, for instance, okay, go back to Russell in the mid-1800s, that was a period when there was a lot of religious discovery. The the Second Adventists and the Seventh-day Adventists, the International Bible Students, the Millerites. There were several American religious sects that were popping up. There was also a proliferation of new Bible translations. And if you look in the back of like the New World Translation, it says that the majority of the manuscripts or reference materials that they use are Bibles from the 1800s. And that's because Watchtower printed most of them. And so you have a group of people who, all kind of shared similar beliefs, but with enough difference that, they would go off and form their own sect. Like, Russell studied with with the Millerites, but when they had their failed Armageddon prophecy, he left and began his own group.
Yep.
And it's kind of ironic that, he had his failed prophecy in 1914. So then Rutherford, who stole the position of president, I saw as a matter of fact, earlier today, there was a Watchtower publication that said he was unanimously elected. Like, no. He used a political maneuver to steal the position.
Yep, I studied that.
He prophesied 1925 as Armageddon, and when that failed, he prophesied 1942 as Armageddon.
I'll tell you what.
Well, it was his Armageddon because he died, but, here we are still. And when my mother and I in 1969, we were being told about 1975. So when 1975 kind of came and went, and I was still here, okay, well, what do I do now,
Yeah, exactly. I was in Worldwide Church of God. Oh.
Someone in the green zone.
Someone's in the green zone.
So it's just like, can we all just, it gets to the point where, Christian religions all have the same basic tenets and beliefs. There's the slight variations. Well, can we maybe find a way to reconcile those, or maybe just not to give those as much importance and just focus on what really is important?
Oh, man, yeah.
Does it matter if a girl's dress is 2 inches above the knee or 2 inches below the knee?
Right.
It shouldn't be important.
Yeah.
Lucy?
Yes,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is this Pete?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. Let me introduce myself. My name is Carrie. I'm in the suite, 6-screen suite. And you made a comment. Hi. You made a comment about how maybe Lisa should have taken your place tonight. Let me tell you something. Your story is just as important as hers and all of ours out here. And I personally appreciate your time telling us what happened to you, how you feel, and everything that you found out. So, good job.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was nice meeting you. A pleasure.
Nice meeting you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carrie.
Could I say something?
Yes.
Hi, I love Pete's channel. I love listening to Jan and Angela. And Pete, I've learned so much, actually from all of you. I've learned so much because I came out in just a couple years ago, and I'm not even formally out yet, but boy, did you guys wake me up. And I just want to thank you, and I'm so glad to hear this story tonight. Thank you so much, Pete. And I hope you are
That's awesome.
a lot longer. Please keep taking care.
Yes.
As long as I keep drawing breath, I'll keep doing it,
That's right.
Doing that. We love you.
All right.
Anyway, I'll let
Do
you.
you comment on my videos?
Oh,
Do you comment on my
yes,
videos?
I'm pretty sure I have. I know I have because they always on ones I like.
Do you want to share your YouTube name with me?
Oh, it's Kate Draws a lot. Which means Kate
Okay.
Draws a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm a pork artist.
It's so much. That's one of the things I love about making videos is when people comment. And I notice that I get a lot of people who comment like on every video. So it's almost like you're developing a relationship with them, and you're developing a friendship. It's something that really motivates me to keep going.
Oh, yeah. you have a very unique way of doing the videos. Actually, pretty expert. I mean, I can't do it. If I tried to do it, I wouldn't do it as well. And one that particularly I really enjoyed was, well, let me think. It has to do with governing body. I can't not explain. What's his name? Stephen Lett and the
Stephen Lett, yeah.
that he was doing, and it was one. Oh wait, it might have been explained. Well, it was when they were saying the opposite of what they're doing. I can't think what it was, but it was about apostates, I think, and then reacting.
Well, I did.
Overboard.
Yeah.
About them.
I did one video on David Splain's anti-apostate rant at the convention.
Yeah, that's it.
And then I did,
right.
And then I did another video on Stephen Lett about all the hypocrisies of him. So, and I'm planning on doing more. Yeah, I'm planning on doing more videos on the other members of the governing body, like I did the one on Stephen Lett. Yeah, because I got a lot of good response from that.
I'm sure I saw it too. I had to kind of not watch as many videos about every XJW. I had to kind of calm it down because I want to go tell my family, oh, dude, I just found that.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
I hear you.
I hope you keep working on it. And Dan and Angela, I wish you would put more on YouTube.
Thank you.
Well, I'm happy I get to do it here on the Suite, but I also love the video ones, and I wish that all the the Saturday ones would also go on YouTube. So that would, because I can see it much better. Because right now on the video Suite, all I see is a tiny screen, and it's either that or the chat. I have to choose. So on YouTube, you could do both, and you could use your phone to chat, but when on the TV, you have to use your controller. It takes like an hour to write a sentence, which I have written on both tonight. So, anyway.
Is it okay if we ask your name?
Pardon me?
Is it okay if we ask for your name, what your name is?
Okay. Well,
you don't have to say. You don't have to say. It's okay.
It's Kim.
Kim. Thank you, Kim.
I have to be careful because I'm not like completely.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you made a good point, Kim.
I'm in limbo.
Yeah.
I really do love you guys' videos. I watch them over and over, tell you the truth. And I learned.
All right, I'll be looking forward to seeing you again in the comments.
All right, you're fine.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
I'm gonna stop blabbing and let you guys go. I'm watching it.
You're awesome.
Yes.
Well, Peachy's right. Everybody, just so you know, your show is important as anybody's show. And the reason I say that is we all speak a sort of different slant. People listen to me, and some people I make real nervous. They're like, man, this guy's aggressive. He's he talks real forceful. He's real passionate. I don't use a lot of facts. You're kind of like a Lloyd Evans. You got your facts down, your details, dates. I'm like, what happened then? But I am passionate about the truth. So I speak to different people, and I have a few people that watch my videos, and you have people. We all our voices are important. And here's what's most important. The most important thing is that you speak from your heart. And I speak from my heart. And when we're speaking from our heart, I believe God's speaking through us. And we're speaking to souls that can hear our voice, and they can hear the intention within us. So your voice and everybody's voice, we encourage everybody to come onto these channels, join together, like the pages, leave comments on his page, leave comments on the YouTube channels. And you know what? This stuff goes far and wide, so we're changing lives, like Pete said. People write to him. We do videos too. We get a couple hundred comments per video, and we write back to each and every one, almost everyone. Well, sometimes we'll spend all day Sunday writing back to people and telling them thank you and giving them thumbs up and stars. And it's like a full-time job. But people are changing, people are coming out, and they're hearing that pure intention that's coming out of pure integrity. We're not making stuff up here. We're telling the truth. So that's what changes people. The truth will set
That's
you
the whole
free.
thing with YouTube.
What's that?
That's the whole thing with YouTube. The whole thing with YouTube is your audience members, they can sense if what you're saying to them is sincere or if you're just throwing them a line.
You're right.
And, the audience knows. There's been times where I said something that was, maybe not factually correct. And believe me, they call you out on it quickly.
Yeah.
So, but I also get comments that, say that you're very sincere about what you say. You have to believe what you're saying because otherwise you can't get other people to believe it.
Exactly right.
There are some channels, there are some XJW channels that I watch a few of their videos and I go, they're just doing this
For money.
to views.
Right.
They're not trying to teach anybody. They're not trying to help anybody. They're just trying to shock people. And that's not what it should be about.
Yeah, or they're angry or they want to make money.
I was out for 40 years and just, twiddling my thumbs. And it wasn't until a video ignited the fire under me to do the activism thing.
Wow.
And, just because I say activism, you don't have to have a YouTube channel to be an activist. If you share a video, just putting a like. YouTube is so centered on their algorithm, it's shocking. But if people just simply hitting that like button, that sends a signal to YouTube that people want to engage with the video. And then the more people that do that, then YouTube will push the video out so more people can see it. And
Right.
That's what we're trying to do, is get as many people aware as we possibly can.
I think we might have a guest. Did someone just called in? Because I heard somebody click.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I guess
No,
not.
that was me coughing.
Oh, no. I mean, I heard a little phone thing, so I thought maybe somebody was coming on, but they must have just gotten off. Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, you're on with us. Go ahead, you're on with us. Speak up. *6. Well, we got someone in there, but they're hung up on the *6.
Yeah, they can't get their voice going there. Pete, I just wanted to say one thing that I'm with you on big time, and that is the whole.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Gilbert, JW Crisis. I remember we met at the November protest in 2017.
All right, I remember, Gilbert. Yep.
Yeah, and hey, listen, I was just talking to my brother, and we had this crazy theory that I told him, I go, is Watchtower like coming up with all these crazy ideas, like the overlapping generation, and all these other crazy things, right? Shutting down the Kingdom Halls and not reopening, but just crazy teachings. And because they actually want you to leave, it's so much easier if all of you leave the Jehovah's Witness Church, and then you leave the spoils behind, and they must be scratching their head thinking, I can't believe that these people won't pick up and leave, that they stick around. I mean, that was just a little thought experiment that we were going through, but because how else can you explain some of the stupid things that are coming out of their mouths? Oh,
I agree.
I take this one. Yeah, please help me.
This answer is very simple. It's all about money.
Yeah.
When they had the big disaster in Puerto Rico, the earthquakes or tsunamis or whatever it was, and there was utter devastation. So the Watchtower sends out notices to all the congregations, volunteers needed to rebuild 200 Kingdom Halls. Now, this is just only 4 or 5 years ago that this happened. Last year, they sold 50 Kingdom Halls in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Now, these things are all being built and repaired with basically slave labor. These are volunteers. So all they're paying for is materials, and who knows how much of that is donated. The Watchtower Corporation is running the largest real estate corporation, one of the largest ones in America. And their tax papers point that out. While they say that donations are the source of their income, those are cash donations. Those don't show up anywhere on the tax. The electronic withdrawal ones do. But you look at their tax records, they had, on one of my videos, I showed their 2015 tax returns. They had, between the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania, they had over $2 billion in real estate profits.
Wow.
They are a non-profit organization, mind you. So, correct. That's what it's about.
Yeah, well, let me help you with that. Let me help you with that. And that has to do with the Menlo Park situation, because you had old-timers. You had old-timer elders in San Francisco, Menlo Park, and they were like, wait a minute, you're not going to steal the title from underneath us. So if you can get rid of all of these elders that have been around for a long time, get rid of them for superficial charges, then it's so much easier to get the 25-year-old, 27-year-old elder to just sign off transferring the title to Watchtower. Now, here's the other thing, and this is what people don't understand with the Kingdom Halls. Watchtower financed those Kingdom Halls to the congregation, and they charged interest. In every state of the union, if you take payments from somebody, like in a mortgage or in a car payment, you have to register with the Secretary of State. So, like, say for example, you have a business, and you have a car lot, and you do buy here, pay here. You have to get approved by the Secretary of State in Arizona, and you have to prove that you're charging accordingly, the interest rates, and you're abiding by all of the regulations of the banking industry. So right. Watchtower is financing Kingdom Halls, charging interest, and literally taking the property away from them. Now, if Wells Fargo and Bank of America could do that, could you imagine? Is there wedge?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, I remember as a kid, that at the end of the month they would always do the financial statement. So like we spent $3.17 on toilet paper. We paid, X amount of dollars for the mortgage on the Kingdom Hall, which was paid to the Watchtower. And here's the thing. So the Watchtower gets volunteers to build the hall. Then they charge the congregation to use the hall. And then once the hall is paid off, they mail the deed to the Watchtower.
Yep.
Hello.
And when they were making payments, unlike Bank of America and unlike Wells Fargo, Watchtower never sent you a letter. I know, because I used to be in the elder committee. I never, ever, in the years that I served as an elder, got a letter from Watchtower saying, "Thank you for your payment. This is your remaining balance." Never. And this is why your Kingdom Halls have to be remodeled. Your Kingdom Halls have to be remodeled. This is the Menlo Park situation. If you remodel a Kingdom Hall, guess what you're going to do? You're going to put a lien on that hall. You can put a lien on a hall if you remodel it, because Watchtower is going to lend you money. Now, Watchtower is also going to do a lot of the in-house, a lot of the paperwork for the city, the halls to get the permits approved. Well, how much are they? No, how much is Watchtower charging people their
We lost you.
Oh.
You're drunk. Well, I tell you how much they're charging. They're charging 100%. But the point is that they never give an itemized, detailed account of charges. I remember when we built a hall way back there in Yuma, Arizona. A lot of the materials were donated by Jehovah's Witness contractors. Now here's this very interesting. So when the office that is handling all of this money transaction, writing the checks for the necessary checks to pay people for this, pay people for that, there's no accounting saying, hey, we just received, for example, Yuma, they had the trusses were donated. That's a huge donation. So is that amount of money ever taken away from the loan? These are the questions that nobody asks when you're a Jehovah's Witness. And this is why, in my opinion, going back to the thought experience, is that Watchtower is telling you about the overlapping generation. Watchtower is telling you about all these stupid biblical theories that they have. And they're hoping that you leave. And they're glad that you leave because they're able to now get rid of these elders and then replace them with younger ones and just steal the property and nobody can see the crime. Like, what crime?
Yeah. Yeah, it's as long as they keep having witnesses born in and indoctrinated, there's always going to be a market, an audience for them. So, yeah, maybe they don't have to be as big as they are right now, for their crimes and to get to continue running efficiently.
Yeah, and then, Watchtower's bedfellows, is going to come back to bite them. We were thinking about doing a video, my brother and I, because we have some document from Watchtower showing how their new building is being in compliance with, New World Order guidelines, with the United Nations. And so they're over here, instead of trying to be compliant with Jesus Christ, they're over here trying to be compliant with water retention and, underground heating and stuff like that. And
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
They don't really want to comply with Jesus, but then again, while they lambaste the UN, they're bedfellows with them, except when it comes to human rights. Because the UN says that every individual has the right to come and go from a religion without, fear of retaliation.
Correct.
But it's funny, the Watchtower chooses to ignore that, but they'll, believe this. It's just like they do with scriptures. They just pick and choose what they want, what suits their purpose.
And one last thing, and I'll go on and let everybody else get on. In the latest annual meeting, when the young guy Sanderson says that, in accordance to government guidelines. Well, hold on a minute. The United States of America isn't by design of the Constitution run by guidelines. We have a process called due process. We have, but here's the thing. George Washington and Abraham Lincoln both signed a declaration saying that you should celebrate Thanksgiving to the Father who dwelleth in the heaven. Think about that statement. The Father that dwelleth in the heaven. So George Washington and Abraham Lincoln are telling you, as president, we have dedicated this day so you could celebrate it to the Father who dwelleth in heaven. If there's ever a guideline, if there's ever a mandate that you can actually point to as a Christian and say, I'm going to follow that mandate, it would be the mandate of George Washington and Lincoln saying, I'm going to celebrate Thanksgiving. But yet Watchtower all of a sudden miraculously says, oh, we're going to listen to mandates? Since when have they listened to mandates?
Very good.
They flip-flop. So I was talking, I have a friend of mine still from back in the day, 40 years ago, I ran into for the first time last summer. I was talking to him, and I don't know how we got on the subject of holidays, but, I says, well, I kind of miss the good old days when witnesses celebrated Christmas. And he says, they don't celebrate Christmas. I said, right up till 1928. There are pictures of, the Bethel Christmas breakfast where the dining hall is all decorated in garland and there are ribbon-wrapped gifts on the, yeah, they do. And said they celebrated birthdays till 1954. So the changes. This is how you know it's a man-made, organization.
Absolutely.
The changes were made with every change in president. Like Russell had the elder arrangement in the congregations. Rutherford didn't like the elder arrangement, so he switched to the presiding overseer. And then Knorr comes along, and in the 70s, they finally switch it back over to the elder arrangement. New Light, we just went back to what we were doing in 1918.
Weird.
New life. Look at Dr. Fauci. New light. First he says mask. Then he says no mask.
Yeah.
Light. These people are
Yeah,
all new light.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah. But the last
God helps us understand that we were idiots before, and
Now,
like they had the New Light just 2 years ago. They had the New Light where well, Jesus is judging the sheep and the goats now before the Great Tribulation. Back in 95, they said that the sheep and the goats weren't going to be judged till after the Great Tribulation.
Yeah.
But the belief that they have now is the same belief that Rutherford had in 1923. Because he said the sheep and the goats are being judged now, because he thought Armageddon was going to be 1925.
Yeah.
So
hey, this will be the last thing. For sure, I promise this time. I did a video called "Questions from Zoomers." JW Crisis, and it's real simple. Question number one. Jesus said that from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Well, Watchtower on their Bible cover says New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. Now,
right.
if you like in Spanish and English, when you translate Spanish and English, a lot of times the words are put backwards. So, if you do that with English and Spanish, if you do that with the New World Translation, it'll be the Holy Scriptures translated by the New World. You see, the Watchtower is telling you, it's in your face, and this is how evil they are. They are telling you, and Satan did the same thing. He told you, and that way, in a court of, this is why when Satan deceived Eve, he pleaded the Fifth Amendment, because Eve and Adam were talking. They got in trouble. But Satan didn't say a word. He pleaded the Fifth. That's why I always tell people. Watchtower is telling you in their face, just like Satan did with Adam and Eve. He told them the truth, or half-truths. You're not going to die.
Oh,
and that's the same thing here. So the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures is the Holy Scriptures translated by the New World. That's what it really means. And at some point you have to have the courage to believe it.
Looks like Rick might have something to say here.
Yeah, I'm just going to say we got some problems with Gilbert's phone. It's it's coming through.
Okay, let you guys go. I'll let you guys go. I love you guys.
No. It was just breaking up a little bit, Gilbert.
All right. That's okay. Gilbert's gone. That's fine.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Yeah, I want to say something about what Gilbert was saying. I have to agree with him on one level, because the ones who've got a little bit of thinking ability, those who have invested maybe in a Kingdom Hall, maybe have paid off a Kingdom Hall, and then they've turned it over to Watchtower. Watchtower sells it out from under them. I would think those people would be running. I think, like Gilbert said, a lot of those guys would be, I'm out of here, I'm done. But I'm going to tell you something. I believe is so true, and it scares me to death. There's some of them left that beyond all reason, beyond all sense of reasoning. Think about this. There's all these YouTube videos going. There's all this pure integrity coming out, trying to talk to these people. There's all this truth. There's all this history online. There's all this due diligence. We can research anything. The ones in there that are in there now are under severe mind control. And I'm going to tell you something. At this point, those that are left, the ones that are left, Watchtower can tell them to do anything, and they will obey. They can tell me no. They can say, no, that's not true. But I'm telling you, something's coming up where the Watchtower is telling them, they're saying, hey, we're going to tell you guys some things that may not register to you as being something you may want to do or may not want to do, but we need you to follow regardless. This is very scary. And why it's scary is because these people truly believe that Jehovah has placed these people in their relative positions and that they're mediators between them and God. This is very, very dangerous. And I'm telling you, I talked to a lady a couple of weeks ago for a long time, and she was not home. I was talking to Watchtower Programming. Now, that lady has a house.
Yep.
These people have houses. They have property. And I'm just wondering what the heck Watchtower is going to tell them to do that may not register as something they may not want to do, but they should do. I mean, this is crazy. Now, here's what bothers me. I want to say this. These people that are on top, they know, governing body knows they are not the mediators. You know when you're lying. You know when you're not telling the truth. You know when you've missed the mark. We all know when we tell a lie. So to continue to tell a lie, to continue to do this makes you amoral. See, the thing about Christianity is this. There's a having to do law. I have to do this because I want to get my butt into heaven or I want to be in the paradise. But being born again of the Spirit means I want to. You move into I want to. It's no more I have to. I want to do right. I love people. I want to tell the truth. I want to be right. It's a whole change. Mm-hmm. So now think about this. These men on top won't even acknowledge a lie. These people on top lie and lie again without any consciousness of it. So these are evil men. I mean, I'm just saying, they're not transformed. They're about the money. They're about the deal. So I think they're trying to get rid of, the people that they can get rid of to sell more halls. But there's still a bunch left. And I'm wondering, man, I'm really worried because they're under total mind control. I was thinking about, I always think about this, is how did they get into mind control? They were told the Bible is unequivocally the word of God. They said yes. They had to say before they came in, the governing body was who Jehovah appointed over all his belongings. Yes. And when they did that, they gave over their free will to these men. And from there, I'm telling you, they could ask them at this point, the ones that are left, I think a large majority would do anything. In fact, a lady told me when I was out, she said, Dan, if they told you to wear brown, would you wear brown? And I laughed. I said, of course I wouldn't wear brown. She said, no, seriously. If the governing body told you in a Watchtower magazine that's, coming from Jehovah and, passed through the organization to wear brown, would you? And I went home and I said, yes, I would wear brown. Well, these people that are in there are in grave danger because the Watchtower could ask them anything. They're amoral. They don't have a conscience. They don't have a connection with God. I'm sorry. Not that they couldn't have a connection if they decided to turn around, if they decided to say, I'm sorry, but they refuse to do that. And this is so sad and it's very dangerous. That's why the Bible says, if anyone false prophesies, do not fear these ones. Do not fear. And it also says, get out. And here's why it says get out. It says you're going to suffer under these men. You are going to suffer. Now think about it. They're asking for motorhomes. They're asking for money. They're asking for your jewelry. They're asking you to hook up your direct deposit. They're selling off your halls, your property. They're asking for free labor again, slave labor to go out there to Wallkill or wherever they're building that big media center. So see, guys, this is crazy. And I'm telling you, what saddens me the most is they're going to take these people that are still indoctrinated, still under mind control, and they're going to shake them upside down for everything they can get out of them. I'm really saddened by that. That hurts me. My brother's in there, my oldest brother. He's got a lot of property and a lot of land, a few houses. And I even called him. I said, I don't care. I'm calling him. I'm going to tell him because I know he's under mind control. And they can do whatever they want. You are literally under biblical mind control, Watchtower mind control. They've used the Bible as a weapon against these people. They've offered you paradise. They've given you lies. and it's just terrible. And then on top of that, they preach fear. When I was in there, that's why people get so messed up and crippled when they come out of there, because it's fear, 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 and more fear. Don't ever leave. Don't ever think about leaving. Never talk to anybody. Never think for yourself. Never read the Bible for yourself. And so they are stuck, everybody.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Angela.
And Dan, that whole thing that we learned about how do they brainwash people, like how, in these really bad situations in our society in the past, what are the steps to brainwashing somebody, and where you get them hooked? There's hooks that are involved. And this lady spelled it out, one thing after the other.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, it all had to do with fear and like different common denominators. They used fear for sure. Dan, do you remember some of the other ones?
I forget all of them.
Confusion. You feel isolated. And then what they do is they offer a solution. And the solution is they are the problem. And if we get rid of them, then we'll all these problems and all these fears and all these anxieties and all these unknowns and all these things that we're going through right now that we can't stand anymore, that they actually caused by putting this in your mind. Then they give you the solution, and the solution is they are the problem. And then everybody's like, okay, so then we gang up on these guys and we're going to cut them off, shut them off, kill them, do whatever we got to do to them. And then our problems will end, and then we'll feel good again, and everything will go back to normal again. And so there's these certain steps that have been used in past genocides and whatnot. And this is the steps that they know this is science. And so in the end, it's just they provide the magical solution. So we got to be wary, you guys. We've got to realize that if you're feeling isolated and confused and fearful and full of anxiety and all of that, and they're causing that in your religion, then you need to realize that, okay, any minute now they're going to provide a solution, and that solution is not going to be one that's godly. It's not going to be one that says we love people. Because remember, today I was discussing with Dan how that my son's going to be 40 years old tomorrow. I don't get to celebrate it with him. In fact, I haven't been in his life now for 22 years. I've not had a Christmas with him, or I've not been able to be in his life. And but I realized that it's kind of like the same thing with him now. Oh shoot! Now I forgot what I was going to say about that. Darn it, Dan! Do you have any idea what I was going to maybe say? I felt
just
so
about
stupid.
The cult, how they've cut you off from the family.
Yeah. And anyway, that is exactly what cults do, though. I mean, remember the Hutu and the Tutsi? They turned them against each other and said lots and lots of stuff against the other tribe. And then finally they said, okay, anybody who doesn't have a machete in their hand on this day, from this moment forward, then you're considered the enemy and you're going to be killed. So that fear alone made everybody step two. But truth is, they'd already had their mind brainwashed to hate these people. And the solution was going to be, if we kill these people, then we'll finally have a clean society and God will be happy with us. So it was a horrible genocide, killing. But I forgot what I was going to say about my son.
We'll think of it again. You still on there, Pete?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. It's funny because I do a 4-part video series dissecting, or comparing, I should say, Jehovah's Witnesses with Dr. Stephen Hassan's BITE model.
Oh, yeah.
The criteria for determining if it's a dangerous cult.
Yeah.
And at the end of one of my videos, I pose the poignant question, is how long before we see a JW broadcasting episode instructing witnesses to drink the Kool-Aid?
Right. That's what we're saying.
I know. I'm wondering now, man.
Yeah.
These guys don't have no consciousness, no morals. They're not guided by anything other than just their heads. And their heads are, like I said, they don't know right. They're not even following right and wrong. There's no Bible in there, And
their solution might be to get rid of the apostate.
The money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Pete, you're right. They're a real estate company.
They've been speaking plenty enough against the apostate.
They're a major corporation disguised as a nasty cult. And look, they got all that free labor building those kingdom halls. They get the deeds to them. When they were publishing a lot of books and magazines, that was all free labor. They're tax exempt. It's just, it goes on and on. you know, and all the donations.
If all they care about is money, why are they all going to go whack themselves for? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, they haven't yet. But I think the whole reason Jim Jones whacked himself and his group is because the law was coming down on them. So when that day comes for, you know, the Watchtower, I would not be surprised to see a JW Broadcasting.
Well,
we've already seen David. We've already seen David Swain the United
Congressman. That's why they were going after him.
Right. You know, but the whole thing, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses, the Watchtower organization, is already like at the 2021 Power by Faith Convention. David Swain was already laying the groundwork. All right, don't believe negative reports you see in the media, even if those reports are true.
The go bags.
Right.
Yeah, look
you know, and just because somebody settles the case out of court doesn't mean they were guilty. So they were telling you already, you know, that you're going to be hearing reports about us settling lawsuits and this and that and the other thing. It's just a matter of time.
That's right. Well, guys,
just a matter of time.
Want to say that's a great thought there, Pete. And I just want to say we're probably winding down here. How we doing, Rick? Are we getting pretty close?
We need to, yeah.
No, we got another.
Back to we've got to, let's go about another 5 minutes or so. Then we're going to bring on Life After the Storm with DeLon. So she'll be coming later. So that's good. But Pete's doing a great job. He's bringing people in, lots of people listening into the network tonight on all 4 of our networks. Yep.
Great.
Good job.
Thank you, Pete.
Well, Pete.
Good to hear.
Yeah, Pete, good job. And great interview. And I just want to say, I want to thank you for coming on. I like the fact that you're so precise and accurate, and you remember dates. You're clear. I like the way you're doing it. I like the way you pull stuff off jw.org. You take the stuff that they say and you show them their lies right in their face. And I just love your style. And I'm going to check out your channel. I never even knew you before today. So I'm looking forward to looking at your channel and telling everybody your channel. What's his channel, Angela?
Okay, his channel is XJW Curious, Curious. XJW, so it's 3 letters, XJ and W, and then Curious. And if you want to contact him, just add @gmail.com to the same address, xjwcurious@gmail.com, and that's Pete, and you can get a hold of him that way. So,
yeah, and leave a comment, like his page. Like Rick said, the more everybody likes their pages, says a little comment, YouTube's algorithms push you out. Mine jumped up 1,000, just from people commenting. It's like they open this door, and it's amazing, and you start reaching lots of people. So, when you get hundreds of people commenting and saying, thank you, you helped me, you saved my life, it makes all this worthwhile. And guys, this is a life-saving work. This truly is a life-saving work. I'm afraid that, I don't want to say the Kool-Aid's coming, but anything's possible with men who have no consciousness about truth.
That's right. And I just want to say one thing too. One of the passions that Pete has is that he wants to see us be less serious about our religions, no matter what they are throughout the world, and actually be the love of Christ, because that's what I was going to say about my son. It's like the whole question to him would be, look, if we're really Christians, then we're loving one another. And remember, Jesus said that if you can't love the one that you can see, then you can't possibly love the Father that you cannot see. So to really be true, genuine people of God, we've got to love each other unconditionally. And so, and my heart is, I keep praying to God, Lord, please turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children once again, and turn the hearts of the children back to the fathers, to the mothers. And, because we've got to show love towards one another. To show hate, it just proves that you're a liar. The Bible says that then you're a liar. And so I like what Pete's heart is about that, is that we need to become lovers of people, not figuring out ways to hate each other and be in division all the time. I'm so sick of it. I just want to throw up. And I know that Pete feels the same way. So Thanks for listening, you guys. And Pete, thank you for coming on. Thanks for your beautiful heart, and thanks for your integrity and your beautiful heart. I feel like you're Thomas in the Bible, who, you had no gall in you, a man of purity and a pure heart. And I just love you. Thank you for all that you're doing, Pete, and for coming on our show tonight.
And thank everybody for calling in. Thanks everybody for chiming in. Every one of you that say your voice speaks to the heart of somebody out there that's listening. So thank you all. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Maybe we'll have Lisa on the show a couple of weeks. It's going to be great. Go ahead, Rick.
In fact, I just want to say too, I did get a message from Lisa. So I'm going to mail that off to you. She wants to come on your program if possible in 2 weeks. So I just got that message from her. So
that's fantastic.
she wants to come on. So that'll be a great program. Yep.
I got someone else, Rick, that needs to talk to her that understands exactly where she's at in the deep state. And so if you could pass that on to me, I will pass it on to him, because they are working with human trafficking and they want to talk to her. Yeah, so someone's waiting to talk to her right now. This is some deep stuff. And, Rick, like you said earlier, there's no sense fighting about it, whether we believe it or not. These are just different levels. I mean, we operated on the low levels in the Kingdom Hall. Some of it was beautiful and wonderful and going door to door, and we loved it. And then, but there's other levels that were, there were problems with the elders, but there's other levels. The man on top are amoral. They're being run by other people. So who knows how dark it is on top? Yeah, and I guess they're liars, because they don't love people. Anyway, Hey guys, we're going to be on again, covering for Linda, the apostate babe, because she is not feeling well tonight. So we're taking over her show. So, and when this next show is over, then Linda James, her program comes on, and we'll be filling in for her tonight. So, anyway,
before we leave, I do believe I want to thank Pete for coming on tonight too. Great program, Pete. You did a great job. And we've got I think we got Lisa coming back here on. Did you want to say something, Lisa?
Yeah, I did. Hi, I heard your message. I've been listening to you guys. This is wonderful. I love hearing other people's stories because you don't feel alone. So thank you. I just heard what you said, something about human trafficking, and somebody wanted to reach out to me and speak to me. Yeah, I got some emails right away. Some people that know about the deep state stuff going on within there, and we know other people that are being targeted. So someone said, would you please put her in contact with me, which is going to put you in contact with some other people, okay?
Yeah.
So I did get you. I got your email, Lisa. I'll send it right off to Dan. He'll have it here in the next hour or so, okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Bless you all.
All right.
God bless you, Lisa. We love you. All right. Well, good night, everyone.
Thank you, Pete.
I also wanted to say, Pete, my goodness gracious, you're right in the same state I live in. I'm glad you're here in Massachusetts. I always say that Massachusetts is the second greatest state in the nation. I haven't found the first one yet. But anyways, glad you're here with us, Pete.
It might be Hawaii.
I think it might
be Hawaii. I went to an international assembly there.
I think it's
great.
It's a place where it's a little bit warmer, that's for sure. It's only about 12 degrees out here tonight. I just looked outside. I'm going, whoa, it's cold. Yeah.
We know for sure it's the apostate capital of the world. We know.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, Rick.
Thank you.
All
right, you guys be good. We're going to discontinue YouTube here. We're going back to our regular broadcasting. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Stay with us in this broadcast. And now we're going back to